Totally, totally. I mean, we kind of lock ourselves into certain food sources, and I say, when we live in areas where we're disconnected from where our food grows, it can make it really easy for us to think that that's the norm, right? To think it's the norm that we just eat wheat, corn, soy, and factory farmed animals.
Right.
But really, this is a modern phenomenon. This is something that's just happened recently with the so-called Green Revolution. I mean, the Green Revolution of the '70s, when you look at the history of it and what it actually was, this is a PR marketing term, like straight out of Edward Bernays' school for the consolidation, the monopolization of the entire animal agriculture industry by chemical and fertilizer companies that run now the plant agriculture industry, like Monsanto,
Yeah.
right? So it's like they've figured out a way to make all of dairy and all of, most of the Western, or at least American system of agriculture dependent on three sources of food, corn, soy, and wheat, that are consolidated and monopolized by one company. And this is a new phenomenon. This is a new experiment, and it's failing. It's failed. And, it's incredibly unsustainable, and it's not going to be around too much longer in the form that we see it now, as long as enough people realize what's really going on, and take control of our health, and source high quality foods when we can, and live a life that's a little bit more honest,
That's
at least
that's big. Like, yeah, it's almost like a conspiracy theory of Monsanto trying to take over, trying to control the population with these kinds of monocrops and things like that. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it could be conceived as that. I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, the word conspiracy theory, it's a really loaded word, right? That somebody made up because they're paranoid. But it really, I mean, that word conspiracy theory, that came out of that was invented in the 1960s. For specific social engineering purposes. But yeah, I mean, it's no secret that Monsanto does desire to control they're part of the market. It's not conspiracy to want to have the biggest market share in your part of the market. It's just kind of that's just how it goes in economics. And
greed.
I mean, when you have you have greed, and you have transnational corporations that transcend governmental structures. It makes it pretty hard. Monsanto comes out of France. I mean, it wasn't the owners of Monsanto. Was it the Harbisons? But this is an American incorporated company that functions mostly in the United States, but also in a lot of the Mexico. It's huge. India, of course, and a lot of these other regions. But it's no secret that Monsanto is incredibly powerful and holds a lot of sway within, through NGOs and through lobbying the United States government. And you look at things like entities like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. These so-called philanthropists are also highly involved in promoting the so-called Green Revolution. And, of course, if you call something the Green Revolution, it sounds great, right? You call it the, it's the Green Revolution. It's the summer of love. It's the, it's the... it's the love and light festival of I mean, you could flower up something with a million different great sounding terms, but really what it came down to was the consolidation of the food supply, and the environmental degradation that this has brought about is definitely it's an issue in the Western world, and it's affecting our health. It affected my health as a kid as well. Like, eating a really inflammatory diet didn't help me growing up with asthma and allergies and autoimmune conditions, and all sorts of fungal overgrowth and gut issues and dysbiosis, and it's very prevalent.
The food pyramid is also then linked to this then.
Well, the food pyramid's kind of inverted in certain ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
The cereals and the grains form the most important part of the pyramid, whereas I mean, that's at least as promoted in the Western world right now. Which, even that word it's such a loaded term. Western world. It's such a broad and encompassing term. I guess I'll just, from where I come from in the United States, the food pyramid it seems to be completely inverted. Especially considering how I eat now, when I actually feel healthy, when I actually feel like I am able to thrive. When you look at my food pyramid, I'm eating meats, fats, and vegetables, but I've actually kind of decreased my vegetable intake significantly as well. and realize that maybe the vegetables aren't as necessary as I once thought they were as well. Of course, everything has its context, everything has its proper place, and I can't make an extreme statement or a universal statement about this diet that I do would be best for everybody. It's about finding what works for us in our specific context within our environment, and doing the best we can to optimize our food intake, our diet, and our lifestyle. Because my optimal diet's not going to look like your optimal diet, right? Like my optimal day isn't going to look like your optimal day. We've all got different preferences. We've all got different assumptions. We've got different worldviews, cultures that we come from, different economic abilities when we can, with sourcing food. So it's about doing the best we can and trying to optimize our own situation, and not necessarily worrying so much about what everyone else is doing all the time. They've figured out a way to make all of dairy and all of most of the Western, or at least American, system of agriculture dependent on three sources of food: corn, soy, and wheat, that are consolidated and monopolized by one company. We gotta do what works, because what works now might not work tomorrow. Oh yeah, eggs are the perfect breakfast, and I eat eggs every day for breakfast, and then like 3 months later I'm like, fuck, I'm sick of eggs. But this is like the basic bitch level. When you go beyond this, there's real philosophical issues that need to be explored that have to do with like just the nature of civilization and knowledge itself, the scientific method, and where these ideas come from. I want living water that doesn't leave me thirsty after I drink it.